Welcome to our exploration of plant cells. Today, we begin by understanding what plant cells are and why they are so important to life on Earth. A plant cell is the basic structural and functional unit of all plants. Just like how a building is made of individual bricks, plants are constructed from millions of these microscopic cells working together. Plants, like all living things, including animals and humans, are made of cells. However, plant cells have some very special features that make them unique and allow plants to survive and thrive. Plant cells have unique structures that allow them to perform special functions. They can make their own food from sunlight through photosynthesis, and they have structures that help maintain rigidity and shape, allowing plants to stand upright. Now let's look at a simple plant cell diagram to see these unique structures. This overview shows the main parts we'll be exploring in detail throughout our lesson. Here we see the cell wall, the tough outer barrier that gives plant cells their shape and protection. Inside is the cell membrane, which controls what enters and leaves the cell. The large space you see here is the vacuole, which stores water and helps maintain the cell's shape. This yellow circle is the nucleus, the control center that directs all cell activities. These green oval structures are chloroplasts, where photosynthesis occurs to make food from sunlight. Each of these structures has a specific job that helps the plant cell function properly and survive. In the upcoming sections, we will explore each of these structures in detail, learning about their specific functions and how they work together to keep plant cells alive and healthy. We'll also practice labeling these parts on diagrams. The cell wall is the outermost layer of every plant cell, forming a protective barrier around the entire cell structure. This rigid structure is made primarily of cellulose, a strong fibrous material that gives the cell wall its strength and durability. The cell wall provides three main functions: structural support to maintain the cell's shape, protection from external damage, and helps the plant maintain its upright structure. An important distinction is that animal cells do not have a cell wall. They only have a flexible cell membrane, which allows for different shapes and movement capabilities. Unlike the cell membrane, the cell wall is fully permeable, meaning water and other small molecules can pass through it freely without any restriction. The cell wall plays a crucial role in maintaining turgor pressure. When water enters the cell, it creates internal pressure that pushes against the rigid cell wall, keeping the plant firm and upright. Without the strong, rigid cell wall, plants would not be able to maintain their structure, grow tall, or survive in their environment. It is truly the foundation that supports all plant life. The cell membrane is a crucial structure found inside the cell wall of plant cells. While the cell wall provides rigid support, the cell membrane has a very different and equally important job. Notice how the cell membrane sits just inside the cell wall, forming a flexible barrier that surrounds all the cell's contents. This positioning is very important for the membrane's function. The cell membrane acts like a gatekeeper, controlling what substances can enter and leave the cell. This is called selective permeability. The membrane is selective about what it allows to pass through. This selective control helps the cell maintain homeostasis, keeping the internal environment stable and balanced. The cell membrane ensures the right substances are inside the cell while keeping harmful materials out. The cell membrane is made of a special structure called a phospholipid bilayer. Think of it as two layers of special molecules arranged back to back, creating a flexible barrier that can control what passes through. This flexible structure allows the cell membrane to bend and move while still maintaining its barrier function. The cell membrane truly acts as the gatekeeper, making sure the plant cell stays healthy and balanced. Chloroplasts are specialized organelles found in plant cells that serve as the powerhouses of photosynthesis. These green structures are what give plants their characteristic color and enable them to produce their own food. Each chloroplast contains a green pigment called chlorophyll, which is responsible for capturing sunlight energy. This captured energy is then used to convert carbon dioxide and water into glucose, providing energy for the plant. Now let's take a closer look at the internal structure of a chloroplast to understand how photosynthesis actually occurs. Inside each chloroplast, we find disc-shaped structures called thylakoids. These thylakoids are stacked together to form structures called grana. The fluid surrounding the thylakoids is called the stroma. The process of photosynthesis can be summarized by this chemical equation. 6 molecules of carbon dioxide plus 6 molecules of water in the presence of sunlight produce 1 molecule of glucose and 6 molecules of oxygen. Photosynthesis occurs in 2 main stages. The light-dependent reactions happen in the thylakoids, where chlorophyll captures sunlight energy. The light-independent reactions, also called the Calvin cycle, occur in the stroma, where carbon dioxide is converted into glucose. Chloroplasts are truly remarkable organelles that enable plants to harness the power of sunlight and convert simple molecules into the energy-rich glucose that fuels life on Earth. This process not only feeds the plant but also produces the oxygen we breathe. The vacuole is one of the most distinctive features of plant cells. This large, fluid-filled structure plays crucial roles in storage and maintaining the plant's structural integrity. The vacuole is a large, membrane-bound sac filled with a watery solution called cell sap. In mature plant cells, it can occupy up to 90% of the cell's total volume. The vacuole serves as the cell's primary storage compartment. It stores water, which is essential for all cellular processes. It also holds dissolved nutrients like sugars and minerals, as well as waste products that need to be isolated from the rest of the cell. One of the vacuole's most important functions is maintaining turgor pressure. When the vacuole is full of water, it pushes against the cell wall, creating internal pressure that keeps the plant cell firm and rigid. This turgor pressure is what keeps plants upright and prevents leaves from wilting. When plants don't get enough water, the vacuole shrinks, turgor pressure decreases, and the plant wilts. Vacuoles also store pigments that give flowers and fruits their vibrant colors. These include anthocyanins for red and purple colors, carotenoids for yellow and orange hues, and betalains for bright reds and yellows. In summary, the vacuole is essential for plant cell function. It stores water and nutrients, maintains turgor pressure for structural support, and holds the pigments that create the beautiful colors we see in nature. Nucleus is often called the control center of the plant cell. It's like the brain that directs all cellular activities and contains the cell's most important information. The nucleus is surrounded by a double membrane called the nuclear membrane or nuclear envelope. This membrane controls what enters and leaves the nucleus, protecting the genetic material inside. Inside the nucleus, we find the nucleolus, a dense region where ribosomes are manufactured. Ribosomes are essential protein-making machines that the cell needs to function. The nucleus also contains chromatin, which is made up of DNA and proteins. DNA carries the genetic instructions that determine everything about the plant, from how it grows to how it responds to its environment. The DNA in the nucleus contains thousands of genes, each providing specific instructions for making proteins and controlling cell functions. Think of it as a detailed instruction manual for the entire plant. The nucleus also plays a crucial role in cell division. When a plant cell divides to create new cells for growth, the nucleus carefully copies all the DNA and distributes it equally to the new cells. In summary, the nucleus is the command center that controls all cell activities through its DNA, makes ribosomes in the nucleolus, and ensures genetic information is passed on during cell division. Now we explore the cytoplasm, the gel-like substance that fills the entire plant cell and surrounds all the organelles we've learned about. The cytoplasm appears as a jelly-like material that occupies all the space inside the cell that isn't taken up by organelles. It's not empty space, but rather a complex, gel-like medium. Here we can see the cytoplasm filling the spaces between organelles. This gel-like substance is where many important cellular activities take place. The cytoplasm is composed mostly of water, making up 70 to 90% of its volume. It also contains dissolved salts, minerals, proteins, and enzymes that are essential for cellular functions. The cytoplasm serves 2 main functions. First, it's the site where many chemical reactions occur. Second, it acts as a transport medium, allowing substances to move throughout the cell. Watch as we demonstrate this transport function. Substances dissolved in the cytoplasm can move from one part of the cell to another. carrying nutrients and waste products where they need to go. The cytoplasm is truly the cellular jelly that keeps everything in the plant cell connected and functioning together. It provides the medium for life's essential processes to occur. Now it's time to test your knowledge with some labeling practice. Here's a plant cell diagram with all the major organelles we've studied. Can you identify each part? First, let's identify the cell wall. This organelle has a specific function in the plant cell. First, let's identify the cell membrane. This organelle has a specific function in the plant cell. First, let's identify the nucleus. This organelle has a specific function in the plant cell. First, let's identify the vacuole. This organelle has a specific function in the plant cell. First, let's identify the chloroplast. This organelle has a specific function in the plant cell. First, let's identify the cytoplasm. This organelle has a specific function in the plant cell. Excellent. Now let's do a quick review quiz. I'll point to different parts of the cell, and you can test yourself by naming each organelle and its function. What is this thick outer layer? What controls the cell's activities? What conducts photosynthesis? What stores water in plant cells? What is the gel-like substance? Understanding plant cell structures is fundamental to plant biology. Each organelle has evolved to perform specific functions that keep the plant cell alive and functioning. The cell wall provides protection, chloroplasts capture sunlight for energy, the vacuole maintains structure, and the nucleus coordinates all cellular activities. Great job completing the plant cell labeling practice. You now have a solid foundation in plant cell structure that will help you understand more complex plant biology concepts. Keep practicing, identifying these organelles and their functions.